In lands where Nile's waters flow, ancient echoes softly grow, before the Pharaohs' mighty reign. A vibrant world did first sustain the river's life, a fertile thread, fed early dreams where people tread. Its floods brought life, its banks did guide, communities grew by its side, from Merimd to Nakata's ground. In humble homes, rich lives were found, potters shaped, and farmers toiled, in ancient lands, their lives unspoiled. Within these early bustling lands, trade flourished through resourceful hands. Roles defined, a structured way, laid the path for a brighter day, beneath the sky of endless hue. Spirits whispered, gods they knew. In sacred rites and temple halls, the ancients heard the mystic calls. Craftsmen's hands with skill and grace, carved stories time could not erase, with pottery, metal, and glyphs they wrote. A legacy that still does float. As borders blurred, ambition grew, to unify with visions new. From upper land to lower's claim, a nation's heart began to flame. So here we stand, in awe reflect. On tales of old we must respect, a world before the Pharaoh's throne, in ancient roots, their seeds were sown.
The Nile, a river that has witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations, a river that has been the cradle of life for millennia, a silver serpent winding through the desert, carving its path through the arid sands, bringing life to an otherwise barren land, its shimmering ribbon a lifeline for a people on the brink of history. The Nile's waters have nurtured the land, allowing lush green fields to flourish and sustain the communities that depend on it. Before the pharaohs, before the pyramids, before the grandeur of ancient Egypt, there was a time of beginnings, a time when the seeds of a great civilization were just being planted, a time when small communities scattered along the Nile's banks began to weave the tapestry of one of the world's most enduring civilizations. These early settlers learned to harness the river's power, developing agricultural techniques that would sustain them for generations. This is the story of Egypt before the pharaohs. A story told through the artifacts they left behind, the tools and pottery that speak of their daily lives and their ingenuity. This is a journey back in time to an era when the seeds of Egyptian culture were sown. An era of transformation where the landscape and the people were inextricably linked. It is a time of ingenuity, of adaptation, and of deep connection to the land. The early Egyptians developed farming techniques that allowed them to thrive, even in the harshest of conditions. It is a story of survival, of innovation, and of the enduring power of the human spirit. The Nile's embrace provided the foundation for a civilization that would leave an indelible mark on history, a testament to the resilience and creativity of its people. Imagine the parched land of Egypt, scorched by the relentless sun. Now picture the Nile, a surge of life, annually flooding its banks and depositing fertile silt. This was the heartbeat of ancient Egypt, the pulse that drove every aspect of their existence.
The Nile provided more than just water. It was a highway for trade and communication. Villages sprang up along its banks, connected by this flowing artery. The river dictated the rhythm of life, the floods, the planting, the harvest. It was a benevolent deity, worshipped and revered.
From the fertile mud of the Nile, small settlements took root. Merimde Beni Salam in the Nile Delta thrives around 5000 BC. These early Egyptians cultivated crops, domesticated animals and crafted pottery. They were laying the foundation for a more complex society.
Further south, the Badari culture flourished. Skilled artisans crafted exquisite pottery and jewelry. They developed a belief in the afterlife, burying their dead with provisions for their journey. These were more than just settlements. They were cradles of culture.
The ancient Egyptians looked to the heavens and the earth for answers. They worshipped a pantheon of gods, each representing a force of nature or an aspect of life. Ra, the sun god, reigned supreme. his life-giving rays essential for their survival.
The Egyptians believed in an afterlife, a mirror of their earthly existence. Tombs were furnished with everyday objects, ensuring the deceased would want for nothing in the next world. This belief system, deeply intertwined with their daily lives, shaped their art, architecture, and social structure.
Section 5, Cultural Innovations, Spark of Ingenuity. Necessity, as they say, is the mother of invention. The ancient Egyptians were incredibly resourceful.
They developed sophisticated techniques for pottery making, creating beautiful and functional vessels. Copper, found in the eastern desert, was smelted and shaped into tools and weapons.
Perhaps the most significant innovation was the development of hieroglyphs. This system of writing, using pictures to represent words and ideas, allowed them to record their history, beliefs and knowledge. It was a watershed moment in their cultural evolution. Section 6. Dawn of Hierarchy, Social Structures. As settlements grew, so did the need for organization. A social hierarchy emerged with leaders, priests, artisans and farmers.
Leaders, perhaps the heads of powerful families or villages, began to consolidate power.
This nascent social structure, while still evolving, laid the groundwork for the more rigid hierarchy of the Pharaonic period. It was a time of transition, moving from small, egalitarian communities towards a more stratified society.
Section 7. The flow of exchange, trade and prosperity. The Nile was not just a source of life, it was a liquid highway for trade. Boats laden with goods, pottery, tools, grain and precious stones sailed up and down the river, connecting communities and fostering economic activity.
This exchange of goods and ideas had a profound impact. It exposed the Egyptians to new technologies, materials and beliefs. It spurred innovation and led to the spread of cultural practices, creating a more interconnected and dynamic society.
North and South, Medley.
Section 8. The two lands, Upper and Lower Egypt. Egypt in this pre-dynastic period was not a unified entity. It was divided into two distinct regions, Upper and Lower Egypt. Upper Egypt in the south was the land of the narrow Nile Valley, flanked by towering cliffs. Lower Egypt in the north encompassed the fertile Nile Delta, where the river fanned out before emptying into the Mediterranean Sea. Each region had its own distinct culture, beliefs and rulers.
Section 9. The Unification, a New Era. Around 3100 BC, a pivotal moment in Egyptian history occurred: the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt. This event was not just a political achievement, but also a cultural and social milestone that would shape the future of the region for millennia. The unification brought together two distinct regions, each with its own customs, traditions, and deities, into a single, cohesive entity. A ruler named Menes from Upper Egypt is credited with this momentous feat, although the exact details are shrouded in legend. Menes, also known as Nama in some accounts, is often depicted as a heroic figure who overcame great challenges to bring about this unification. His story is a blend of historical fact and myth, making him a legendary figure in Egyptian lore.
This unification ushered in a new era. It marked the beginning of a centralized state that would become one of the most powerful and enduring civilizations in history. The Nile River, which had always been a lifeline for the people of Egypt, now became the unifying thread that connected the entire nation. The pharaoh, a divine king, ruled over a united Egypt wearing the Shent crown, a symbol of the two lands joined as one. This crown, combining the white crown of Upper Egypt and the red crown of Lower Egypt, was a powerful emblem of the pharaoh's authority and the unity of the nation. This marked the beginning of the early dynastic period and set the stage for the rise of one of the most influential civilizations in human history. The achievements of this era laid the foundation for the grandeur of the Old Kingdom, the construction of the pyramids, and the flourishing of art, science, and culture that would define ancient Egypt for centuries to come. Section 10. Legacy of the Ancients. The Egypt of the Pharaohs, with its monumental architecture and complex social structure, did not appear overnight. It was a civilization built on the shoulders of countless generations, each contributing to the rich tapestry of history that we now admire. It was the culmination of centuries of innovation, adaptation, and cultural development, all rooted in the pre-dynastic period. This era, often overlooked, was a time of significant transformation, where early Egyptians began to form the societal structures and cultural practices that would define their civilization. These early Egyptians, with their ingenuity, resilience, and deep connection to the Nile, laid the foundation for a civilization that would captivate the world for millennia. The Nile was not just a river, it was the lifeblood of their society, providing sustenance, transportation, and a means of communication. The annual flooding of the Nile deposited nutrient-rich silt onto the land, enabling agriculture to flourish and supporting a growing population. Their legacy lived on in the grand temples and pyramids of their descendants, a testament to the enduring power of human creativity and the profound impact of a river that breathed life into the desert. These structures, with their intricate carvings and massive stone blocks, stand as a reminder of the incredible achievements of ancient Egypt. They are not just monuments of stone, but symbols of a civilization that valued knowledge, art, and the mysteries of the cosmos. The legacy of the ancients continues to inspire and intrigue us, inviting us to explore the depths of human history and the boundless potential of human ingenuity.